Just another day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. All right, let's get into some praise right now. Here's Travis Green right here. Pastor Haynes up next. Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Oh, man. Yes. Travis Green this morning. Pastor Haynes, good morning.
Good morning, Rickey Smiley. This is a good one here, man.
Yes, sir, man. I know you got a good word this morning.
Oh, I appreciate it, Rick. This song lets us know that all of us have let ourselves down. We have blown it. Sometimes I get mad at myself. I don't know about you, but there have been days where I've discovered my worst enemy is in me because I keep getting in my own way. But isn't it good to know that even when I mess up, when you mess up, there is a God who is so good that God says, I'm not through with you. I'm patient with you, and I'm going to keep waiting on you. That's the good news right there. The good news is that God ain't through with you. Even when you give up on yourself, God says, I'm not through with you. I'm still working on you. I'm still waiting for you. I'm still working around whatever it is you're going through to make out of you even more than you are right now. God is a patient God, and God says, I'm not through with you. But not only is God not through with you, but God refuses to give up on you. That's some good news right there, because sometimes I want to give up on myself, but God won't let me give up on myself because God doesn't give up on me. Don't you give up on yourself. God has not given up on you because God ain't through with you. God is waiting on you, working with you, and making you everything God intends for you to become. I'm excited this day because Travis Green lets all of us know that we serve a patient God who purposefully is working with us, around us, and for us. And the good news is he's waiting on us.
Man, I love that word, man. Thank you so much, Pastor Haynes. Let everybody know how you can be reached.
Hey, thank you, Rickey Smiley. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FH Unscripted. I'm on Facebook, Frederick D. Haynes, and I am on YouTube, Frederick Haynes.
There it is, y'all. The senior pastor of Friendship West Missionary Baptist Church, Dallas, Texas, Pastor Frederick Douglass Haynes. Love you, Pastor Haynes.
Love you, Ricky. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Here's Kurt Franklin right here. Got your front page coming up next. 5 minutes after the hour. Rickey Smiley Morning Show. All right, 9 minutes after the hour, y'all. Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Got your front page right here. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Ricky. Remember, you cannot vote unless you're registered. So if you need to find out more information about how, when, and where to vote, please visit news1.com/vote. Good morning, everyone. I'm here with a check-in on your news headlines. Thousands of people turned out at the memorial service for George Floyd in Houston yesterday. His funeral will be held today at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 Central, live on C-SPAN. He will be buried in Pearland, Texas, just outside of Houston, next to his mother. The family of George Floyd and the attorney, Ben Crump, sent an urgent request asking the United Nations to take a look into police brutality in the U.S. Also,
didn't I say that a few months ago?
Yeah.
I said a bunch of lawyers ought to get together and go to the United Nations and talk about police brutality. And I've been saying that for years.
Oh yeah. I mean, the United States shouldn't be exempt from those kind of laws no more than any other country.
Because if it was anybody else doing stuff like that, the United States would be, doing a case with the United Nations against another country. And
because of genocide.
Absolutely.
Now, in other news, Ricky, the man accused of driving his truck into a crowd of peaceful protesters in Virginia admits that he is a leader of the KKK. Crazy. Also, Democrats in Congress have pushed new legislation to overhaul policing in the U.S. Oh, and I want to update you. At the hearing yesterday for the police officer responsible for Floyd's death, the judge decided to keep his bail at $1.2 million. Also, the World Health Organization now says that catching the coronavirus from someone who is asymptomatic is not likely. And last, remember everyone, today is election day for a lot of our listeners in Georgia and in South Carolina. So get out there, make your one vote count. All right, that was a quick look at your headline news. For more on what's trending, please log on to the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.com. Rock T, what's the latest in sports?
It's official, Eva. The NBA will be restarting at Disney World July 31st. It's going to be 22 teams. They're going to play an 8-game wrap-up regular season followed by the playoffs. So stay tuned for that. Should be pretty interesting. Former Clemson player and two former Clemson players, now NFL stars DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson are starting a petition that the university removed the name John C. Calhoun from the school's honors college. Now, if y'all don't remember John C. Calhoun, here's a little history lesson, was a slave owner who owned 70 to 80 slaves back in the day. Clemson University is actually built on Calhoun's Fort Hill plantation. Didn't know that. So they got a petition going.
Crazy.
Wow. Isn't that something, dog? Wow. So just imagine what some African American, what am I trying to say? Students that are attending the school right now, how they feel after learning that information. That's crazy.
Got Dabo to keep it going, huh?
Oh my goodness. NFL players are starting to speak out about if the NFL is really sincere on race issues. They would make sure Colin Kaepernick is signed to a roster this season, and I've been saying all along that will happen. They will be forced to make sure that Kaepernick is on somebody's roster before the start of this season. He's going to be on somebody's roster. We don't know who it's going to be, but trust me, it's going to happen. So stay tuned for that. It is what it is. That's what my sports report for this morning. Gary, what you got there, big dog?
All right, y'all. They have the best of intentions for their network, but not necessarily for my culture. Amanda Seales, y'all, she's addressing the rumors, y'all, surrounding her departure from The Real. Now, she is still talking, and she's saying some things that's going to make a lot of people listen. She said, quote, a lot of times, honey, we are only considering the people that we're going to be on camera with, and we don't necessarily vet like the production company or the network or the actual showrunners. She said, we don't vet these things, and we kind of just feel like, oh, we'll figure it out. She said, but these are the people who are actually going to be choosing the content that you're doing, and they're going to be the ones walking you through the steps every day. Now, she also said, y'all, that the diversity cast presents their personal viewpoints is supervised by white executives. So she's saying, y'all, like on The Real, the girl chat, which even y'all, we know about girl chat on The Real. She said that's white people picking that. She said that's not nobody that look like us doing it. They're picking that. She said, and I was on the show that on its core base is okay. She said these are diverse women who are talking about things and keeping it real to a diverse audience. She said, but when in reality, it's being run by, a white woman who doesn't have the connection to their experience, and our topics are being picked by someone who doesn't. And, she said our chat is produced by a white man who, even if he has the best of intentions, he has a disconnect by simply his experience in the world from what we're going to be addressing. And she's talking, and Ricky, you always talk about stuff like that, just like with the show, how things should sound and how, because who we talking to.
Right.
And she just telling honey, so I guess Amanda, is speaking out and she don't mind, honey, saying what she got to say, because that's how she really feels. And now in the wake of all what's going on now, somebody's going to listen eventually. So.
Yeah. You just need to have, when it comes to topics and different things, have people in place that have the experience, or at least have a voice in the room.
Yeah.
Somebody that a black woman that have the experience, because they're black women, and they should have a black woman should be one of the segment producers for that show.
Yeah. And she's talking about it. So we're going to follow that story and see how it all turned out. All right, the color today is one of my favorite colors. My color today, y'all, is beetroot. On the high end, you say beetroot, and on the low end, you say hot pink. That's your color for today. So, Brad, now what's going on with George Floyd's services today?
Well, it's going to air on BET today, and I'm going to tell you all about it coming up in the hot spot. It's the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
All right, y'all, tomorrow on Rickey Smiley Morning Show, our question would be, how long after sex should a man wait before asking a woman for money? Brad, good morning.
Wow. Okay, we're going to start the hot spot off like that then. Good morning, everybody. Your girl Brett said that. And this is the hot spot. Good morning, Ricky. Oh, God. When we bring you music, movies, and more. You are so silly. Y'all, BET is set to air George Floyd's homecoming service today. BET Remembers George Floyd will be hosted by Mark Lamont Hill. He'll be memorialized at the Fountain of Praise Church in Houston. Confirmed guests include Mayor Sylvester Turner, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, Reverend Al Sharpton, Attorney Benjamin Crump, Slip Thug, Leela James, Paul Wall, Floyd Mayweather, Congressman Al Green, Bishop James Dixon, and more. And after the memorial service, Floyd will be buried next to his mom in Pearl, Texas. BET remembers George Floyd will come on at 12 p.m. Eastern on BET, BET Her, BET.com, BET's YouTube channel, and Facebook. All right, y'all, moving on. Celebrities like Rihanna and Meg Thee Stallion have signed an open letter urging New York police reform, the state law that shields police officers' personnel and disciplinary records for public views, and that we must hold accountable for those who violate the oath to protect and serve, and find justice for those who are a victim to their violence. An indispensable step is having access to disciplinary records of law enforcement officers. A New York statute 50A blocks that full transparency, shielding the history of police misconduct from public scrutiny, making it harder to seek justice and bring about reform. It must be repealed immediately, and the letter will be sent to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. What y'all think about that?
Agreed.
Agreed. That's awesome.
Yes.
We need one of those in every city going around, so we should start one. All right, y'all, moving on. In a recent series of Twitter messages, John Legend explained what it actually meant to defund the police, which some activists are calling in from the wake of George Floyd's death. The movement has met with confusion, so John Legend dedicated a thread on his Twitter to explain what exactly it meant to defund the police. He said, "I know the word defund has caused some controversy, even from those who are inclined to agree with a lot of underlining arguments." He also pointed out that huge portions of the city's budgets are funneled into police departments, and that's money that could potentially benefit social service programs like healthcare and education, which are known to benefit low-income areas and reduce the crime rate. So that's another awesome thing. All right, y'all, now this is a trip right here, okay? Check this out. Donald Trump, I hate to say President Donald Trump, I know that's what he is, but anyhow, it don't even feel right. Anyway, yeah, right. I ain't gonna even say it, honey. Not this time. His activity on Twitter often creates head-scratching moments, y'all. But this one is a little bit confusing, so y'all got to tell me what y'all think. So as a new episode of Issa Rae's HBO show Insecure aired, Trump liked a tweet that read, "This is how I wanted tonight's episode of Insecure to end. Damn, Molly." And the tweet featured a gif of characters from The Color Purple in a field of flowers participating in the clapping game, right? So fans quickly delved into the psychology of it, as did Issa Rae herself. She said, "What the F is this?" Her Lovebirds co-star Kamal Nanjiani tweeted, "Well, I found one thing that I do have in common with him, and that's we're both fans of Issa Rae." So why would he like the tweet of The Color Purple in the episode? I mean, it's always something with him. What's the
he probably just watching TV.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, you sound like
he ain't doing nothing else.
Yeah.
Well,
I know, but
that's all he does.
He could have liked anything, but he liked some type of slave, The Color Purple-ish type show. Why would he
knows what's going on. He knows his name is in the news. His wife Rebecca, they are regular people. He knows what's going on. So even if just to respond to us in a way, that where we won't just cancel him.
I just don't trust him, and I feel like it's something slick behind it. It's so many other things he can like. Why would he like that? And that's why Issa Rae was like, "What is this?" You know what I'm saying? Anyway, y'all, I'm going to end on that note, but I'm going to have more good old hot spot, juicy stuff coming up later. But that's the hot spot. You can catch your girl, Brad Tat Tat. You can find me, what is it? Catch up on those stories. What?
Donald Trump said, "Y'all can forget about that second stimulus shit."
I ain't never get the first one, so I ain't worried about it.
Yes, baby, because I got a lot to say.
He said, "Y'all gonna forget about the way y'all act."
That ain't funny. To get caught up on those stories and more, you can go to RickySmileyMorningShow.com. I'm your girl, Brad Tat Tat. Coming up next, we got Special K with the news that you absolutely, positively cannot use. And in the meantime, in between time, hit us up for them wake-up calls. That's 1-866-9-RICKY, 1-866-9-RICKEY. It's the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley Morning Show at a time right now. It's 12 minutes before the top of the hour. Y'all, it's about that time. Special K got news you positively, absolutely cannot use. What up, Kate?
Hey, man, yeah, and good morning. And I do have some actual news this morning, and I'm not going to start it off taking a shot at Gary. I have been doing that a lot lately, but I'm not doing that this morning.
I had something for you.
It's a new day.
Yeah, I'm not, that's kind of childish, and I just feel like, enough is enough. And plus, there's news out of Texas that a very small hurricane hit Gary with the T's hometown of Port Arthur yesterday. It was a very small hurricane. Apparently, no injuries were reported, but over half the city was destroyed, causing nearly $1,300 in damages. So,
1,300.
Ain't that half the city? You gonna do Port Arthur like that?
Don't you come for Southeast Texas?
Nah. They say the entire downtown area was devastated, and damages are close to $1,400 actually. So we want to just down there. Yeah, Gary. So
you don't have no comment?
No, I saved this for him. In the words of Russell from Fat Albert, no class. Go ahead.
Oh, that ain't even how the joke went. But anyway, you tried it.
That wasn't even.
The joke, the joke was you're like a teacher in the summertime, no class. Anyway, that's an old Fat Albert joke. But anyway, Gary, thanks for trying.
Gary.
Meanwhile, you could have went to sleep on that one.
Stayed up all night.
Went to sleep on that one. All right, so one of the morning show favorites, R&B legend Toni Braxton. How about this, y'all? Eva, she announced that she's going to be hitting the tour circuit. She's going to be one of the first major performers to hit the tour circuit this year, performing several small, intimate concerts of less than 300 audience members. Y'all didn't even hear about this, but the venues are requiring a clause that in order for her to perform her current hit, Do It, in-house counselors must be on hand as well as the number for suicide hotline got to be shown on the screen above the stage. So,
I love that song.
To that. And finally, in other morning show news, congratulations are in order for our very own sports reporter Rock T and his wife Crystal, who yesterday won their lawsuit against the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. Apparently, they had filed a petition to allow them to renew their driver's license with both of them in the picture.
Why you gonna do that man like that? That man's still in love. They still go.
Real love right there.
Okay, they married, but they still go together.
Yeah, exactly.
That's his wife and his girlfriend. Okay. She the side chick and the main chick.
And the baby mama. A similar suit had been filed earlier this year by Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson and his wife Sierra. So, congratulations to Rock T on that, man. Just
oh man,
that's a beautiful thing, brother.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Boy, they've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It is. All right. Thank you.
Y'all give it up a special cake. Coming up, man, it is Tuesday. That's right. It's Talking Out Tuesday. We got Counseling Yanetta Spring coming up next. Rickey Smiley Morning Show. All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Hey, it is 4 minutes after the hour, y'all. We got our licensed professional counseling. If you look up counseling and getting your mind right, if you Google it, her picture will pop up with her smiling. Yeah. Counseling Spring, good morning.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning, Ricky.
Yeah, hey, thank you for coming on with us every Tuesday, because we really have to break the generational curse of African Americans not going and getting therapy and thinking that you're just supposed to Jesus will work it out if you let him. But he also created counseling. Hey, speak on that a little bit. Just some of the thoughts of people. Have people, was like, ever been like, I never would have gotten therapy, and thank you, and here's how this has helped me.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because, yes, Jesus will work it out, but he placed these counselors here to help us navigate that process of working it out, right? Because it's a process to getting things worked out. So, yeah, I hear it all the time. And I think, we as, African Americans, we are showing up in the therapy session. So that is really warming my heart that there are a lot of clinicians out here that are offering services, and people are becoming more comfortable with it. So thank you for having me on here, because we are definitely breaking that curse.
Yeah, that generational curse. People thought if you went to counseling that you was crazy or something was wrong with you, and people don't understand Can you speak on just how traumatized? Well, I'll give you an example. I got hungry last night, and I went and got a slice of pizza. Like I really did. And you know I don't leave my house when it get dark. And the police whipped around with the lights flashing. The police whipped up in, I thought he was turning to the parking lot, but there's a side street. And he whipped it. I thought he was going to turn into the pizza place parking lot. And I cannot tell you how traumatized. I must be traumatized because I was going to step into the pizza parlor and literally lay on the floor with my hands and legs spread it. Now, what is that? And I like my heart was racing. I was panicking, gasping for air. Like, gee, I started thinking about my kids. What is that all about?
Yeah, what you described is being activated, right? And it's in a sense like a trigger when you describe your heart racing, right? And then you're thinking of, thinking of your kids, thinking of what I can do to protect my kids. All of that is what happens when what we call, like in counseling, your bottom brain gets activated, right? It's that fight, flight, freeze, or appease response. When that part of your brain gets activated, the only thing that's on your mind is, how can I survive? What do I need to do to survive? So that's why a lot of times people are saying, well, why did they run? Because once your fight, flight, freeze response gets activated, that's all you know how to do is figure out, how can I protect myself? So that's exactly what you experienced. When you saw that police officer, your bottom brain got activated and you went into fight, flight, freeze response.
Wow. I have a couple questions. So amid all of the protests and the civil unrest right now, and a lot of us are figuring out what our activism looks like, and we're trying to be a part of the cause and to help the cause. But it does cause a strain on you being out there in the protests, watching the videos. So what do we need to do to keep our mind and our heart healthy while we're seeing and dealing with these things that are absolutely outrageous?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked that, Eva, okay? Because being a part of the cause looks different for everybody, right? Some people are going to be out there protesting and on the front line, and that is absolutely fine. But sometimes it may look different. Like, actually, the reality is, right, when you think about, like, oppression and systematic oppression, what was the thing that we weren't allowed to do? You know, we weren't allowed to rest. Right? That was something that was stripped from us, our opportunity to take care of ourselves and rest. So sometimes, like, fighting oppression means self-care, right? So that you have the strength and the energy to get out there when it's your turn to get out there. But everybody doesn't fight the same way. So really knowing what your purpose is and what you are designed to do. For me, you know, I got out there and did a march this weekend, and I, you know, I felt like I could do it. But, you know, sometimes for me, it's being in a therapy session, you know, and talking to my black and white clients about what privilege is. You know, for you guys, it's being on this radio show and talking about it, right? So I think really being specific about what is my individual part and being okay if that part does not look like everybody else's part.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey, we really appreciate this. And next week, we're going to be talking about somebody on the morning show who most people on the morning show that works on the morning show don't like because he's messy and keep up a lot of confusion. Probably your favorite person, Counselor Spring. Maybe you need to go get therapy, Counselor Spring.
Leave Gary alone.
Whoa! How you know what I was talking about? Wait a minute. See?
You know, there's this thing that happens every week when Gary comes up in some way. So,
Counselor Spring, let everybody know how you can be reached.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Springforth Counseling. If you want to text to subscribe to my mailing list, you can text Spring to 55444. And I'm on YouTube as Yanetta Spring, so you can check out my YouTube page as well.
There it is. Y'all give it up for Counselor Yanetta Spring. One time.
Hold it.
Bye.
It's Gary. I want to hip you to the T. It's Gary, baby.
Brett, You know what, Brett?
What?
You ain't nothing but a damn mockingbird.
Wow. Gary. I love that. It's so catchy. It make you remember. It's Gary, baby.
She imitate and repeat every damn thing. I be cracking up. I thought the segment's being brought to you by Walgreens. That's right, man. Now we all know that summer may look different this year. Walgreens is making it easier. That's right. Walgreens making it easier for you to find deals with their new ways to shop in this summer online. That's right. Shop online, in-store, or get select essentials delivered with Postmates. See Walgreens.com for detail. Walgreens. Gary, what up?
Good morning.
Something you
Good morning, Ricky. Good morning, America. Good morning to you. It's Tuesday, a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and here's what's happening in celebrity news, y'all. Jamie Foxx, honey, people are talking about him. They're saying that Jamie Foxx attended the Black Lives Matter rally recently in Los Angeles, and they said it was confirmed that he brought his voluptuous white girlfriend, honey, to partake in the protest.
His what?
His voluptuous.
Voluptuous.
Does that mean big breasts?
No, big butt, honey. Now they're saying
That
some
means
people
big
on
all
Twitter,
around.
Yeah, they say they was up. Twitter was upset, y'all, with Jamie bringing this European woman to the protest. But they're saying, y'all, that he was trying to be incognito during the protest, but they knew it was him, honey. Now they spotted him and her leaving in her beautiful Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon or what have you. But it's alleged, y'all, that this woman, honey, has a child for Jamie Foxx, y'all. They're saying that she has a child for Jamie Foxx, and they say her name is Annalise, and they say she was the woman that Jamie was allegedly dating on and off, honey, for 10 years when he was with, honey, what's her name, child? Miss Katie Holmes. Mm-hmm. But never, I mean, is that fair, y'all, for him to bring that woman to the march, y'all? Or
Absolutely. He has a child with her. This lady has a black child, so it makes a lot of sense when figuring out their co-parenting situation to know the pulse of the world that their children live in. Absolutely.
Oh, my God. Well, if a lot of people was upset, honey, they say he shouldn't have done that. But nevertheless, if he did bring her, honey, he brought her, but he was hiding, they say. So but people recognize him. You can put a mask on and people still know who you are. So nevertheless, we're going to follow that. But moving on in other celebrity news, y'all, Evelyn Lozado, baby, she's speaking out. She is defending her ex-boyfriend, Carl Crawford, y'all, following that domestic violence arrest. Now, Evelyn took to Instagram, y'all. She said, first of all, she's going to defend her ex-fiancé, Carl Crawford, who was recently arrested, y'all, for domestic violence. Now,
The dude that played baseball, they never got married?
Yes, exactly.
No, they didn't get married.
She had Evelyn had a baby for him, and his recent girlfriend had a baby for him.
For him or with him?
Oh, with
Thank
him.
you, Ricky. What does that mean for him?
That's a 1940s term.
Hey, go over there.
Because when they not together, it's not with him. It's kind of for him.
Thank you.
Hey, baby, you look good. Go over there and have this baby for me.
She didn't have to have it, you know.
Now they say Evelyn, who has
somebody to run to the store.
And they say Evelyn, who has a 6-year-old son with Carl, honey, has said, y'all, that he never, honey, physically abused her. She also explained, y'all, that she wasn't going to comment on this situation. But people are putting her in it. She said she's been seeing stories, y'all, popping up, people trying to put her in the story. But she said he never did do that to her. But she said, but she's not taking away anything from the current girlfriend. But, honey, the current girlfriend said he choked her, honey, and did all kind of bad things to her. So now Evelyn is speaking out. But now, I don't know if Evelyn, I don't know, if they did pop her in, and maybe she should say something, I'm not sure. But nevertheless, honey, Carl, you know, he's been going through a lot lately, you know, because they had a drowning at his mansion in Houston, if I'm not mistaken, last month or whatever.
And that Meg Thee Stallion stuff.
Yeah, and the stuff that he's going on with Meg Thee Stallion, exactly. So he's been in the press for a while now, but Evelyn is trying to make sure she speak up and keep her check coming. So I guess you got to do what you got to do. So because you want your child support, because if you go to jail.
Gary, don't do that.
Well, if he go to jail, she can't get her child support.
Well, no, that's not what happened. So a blogger decided to write a story about Evelyn saying that that's why their relationship didn't work out. And she came on the record and said, look, our relationship didn't work, but he never hit me. And I'm not going to sit here and allow y'all to say this about him. So that's why she spoke out. Not so she can get a check, Gary.
Yeah, she want to keep him out of jail. But anyway, that's what they're saying. So moving on in my final story, y'all, baby, Miss Nene Leakes from Real Housewives of Atlanta is speaking out. She said, baby, all these girls out there fake protesting, honey, for PR stunt. She said, honey, everybody ain't that doggone concerned about, honey, Black Lives Matter. She said, a lot of people out there just protesting, doing Photoshop, honey, to say, honey, they were out there for the cause. But she said, She said, y'all lying. So I don't know who she talking about, but.
She talking about Portia?
I don't know.
They doing her thing out there.
Well, Portia was out there protesting.
Yeah, protesting. They say Portia got tear gas and everything, trying not to end the
She did.
And another story saying that she was praying for the people that was protesting. So
she's been out a few times. Portia has been doing her thing. She's actually going to be doing a Black Lives Matter on Watch What Happens Live tonight. I must say, Portia Williams has definitely been active.
And I don't think Nene was talking about Portia. They friends. She probably talking about other people.
Yeah, well, she talking about somebody, honey. She said they was out there, honey. So she said,
Who she talking about, Gary?
Somebody. She just said y'all was out there PRing, honey, and playing like y'all was tear gas and all this other stuff beat down, honey. She said, but
You just added that. You didn't say that at first.
well, because it came to my mind, niece. But anyway, child. So child. So we're gonna follow that story, honey, and see how that always. But I will say this about Portia. Y'all gotta remember, Portia's grandfather, honey, was a civil rights man, honey. He marched under with Martin Luther King and all them. So, honey, that's in her DNA. So she can't be talking about her. But nevertheless, she did say though there's some people out there PRing and playing it out like they out there for the cause, child. So we're gonna follow that story.
I'm glad the police didn't shoot that booty with them rubber bullets.
The bounce back, the ricochet. Ricochet back at
A lot of people would have got hurt.
So the cologne today, honey, is one of my favorite colognes. My cologne today, y'all, is beetroot purple. On the high end, say beetroot purple, and the Lord just say hot pink.
Thank you, Uncle Auntie.
That would have sounded like them bullets in Portia butt. Y'all give it up for Gary with the T. Oh, they got your wake-up call. And we got Dr. MJ Conley, a whole lot of Rickey Smiley Morning Show coming up. All right, Rickey Smiley Morning Show, 24 minutes after the hour, y'all. It's time for the wake-up calls. 866-9-RICKY. Wake up. Wake up. Hey.
Get yourself together. I woke you up this morning, slid you in your house shoes, so it would be better. Wake up, wake up, encourage each other and be productive. The Rickey Smiley Morning Show, wanna know where you calling from, so come on and tell us and just wake up.
This is Kia from TOL Toledo. I'm calling to wake up Asha, Akeem, Elijah, DeMar, Antonio. Wake up, everybody. I can't breathe. Black Lives Matter.
It's April from 7th City, Fox City. I'm wishing my coworkers saying I'm around to wake up, wake up, wake up.
My name is Eddie, and I want to send a shout out to my little girl Queen and my man Legend. Y'all wake up, wake up.
My name is Kia from Toledo, and I would like to wake up all my babies and wake up everybody. No more sleeping in bed.
Hey.
Wake up to the whole morning crew. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
On your radio.
Come on.
And your city tuned in, lock in. What's yours? Cause we gon' let them know. Where you at? Miami, wake up.
Come on.
Seattle, wake up.
Hey.
Detroit, wake up.
Come on.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. St. Louis, wake up. New Orleans, wake up. And Memphis, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Appreciate you, Bratty.
Welcome, Ricky.
All right, y'all, this segment is being brought to you by Optima Tax Relief. Stop living in fear of the IRS and stop lying and wait word about the IRS garnishing your wages and freezing your bank account. Call Optima Tax Relief, 800-829-3181. 800-829-3181. Got church in 60 seconds with Pastor Fred. Up next, it's the Richard Smiley Morning Show. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up. Church in 60 seconds with the one and only Pastor Fred.
It is always such a joy, It's a be here around these God's people. I mean, Brother Rickey, that's what I said. Such a joy. Yeah. It's just such a joy. Saints and ain'ts, those that can and those that can't. Brother Rickey, I was preparing to watch a show on television. Many of you may know it's called Catfish. I thought to myself, well, golly, this may be my lucky day. Because, you know, I haven't learned how to fry fish. It's difficult for me. I thought this show was going to teach me how to fry fish, but, you know, psych. This show, that's what I said, psych. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
This show was about people who had deceived others into believing that they were someone else. But brothers and sisters, I want to encourage you that if you don't do anything else in life, be yourself. Be you. Be you. Big you. Little you. Short you. Tall you. Black you. White you. Brown you. Stinky you. Old you. Young you. Kung Fu. Desmond Tutu. Baby Blue.
Cashew. Alazoo. And his moo-moo. I be you. I be you. Yeah. Just be you. Follow me at the real Pastor Fred. Just be you.
Man, don't you just love this church?
Ooh, I can't take it. Church in 60 seconds, Lord. That's all you need.
And we out already.
In and out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Fred.
Woo!
All right, y'all. Chicken and waffle mix coming up next. Rickey Smiley Morning Show. All right, y'all. Rickey Smiley Morning Show, man. John Lyon on the ones and twos. Chicken and waffle. I can't talk this morning. Chicken and waffle mix going down. What up, John?
I'm good, man. You know, this is Tuesday turn up mix. Of course, and make sure you hit me up on the Instagram at JAH Lion Sound.
Hey, John Lyon.
Talk to me.
Hey, Eva says she'll be glad when you get rid of that flip phone. Stop calling in, sending your mixes in, but you calling in on a flip phone from Jamaica. The listeners say they don't appreciate it.
I got a flip phone. I got digital down in Jamaica.
Yeah, whatever you say, just close your phone and put it back in your pocket, John Lyon.
Yes, what you said. That signal.
We got off of quarantine. We're good to go, man.
There it is, John Lyon on the ones and twos, chicken and waffle mix. Boom, 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 boom.
Give thanks.
Black Tony, what's up, Black Tony?
Hey, Shawty, real talk, Shawty. I'm not even calling playing around today, Shawty. We need Shawty, I need to get a protest going for real, Shawty. I need a protest going on down here in Decatur, Georgia, in the state of Georgia, in Decatur, Shawty. I need to get a protest going. Like, I need you to call all your lawyers.
So you want everybody that's listening to us in Houston, everybody in Dallas, everybody in Indianapolis and Naptown, Chi-Town.
All the folk. I need
everybody, Lauderdale, Lottie, Palm Beach, Miami,
come down here to
Jacksonville, Gainesville, Baltimore,
all over America, United States.
What?
I need to get on.
Charlotte, what's up?
And come down here,
Louisville, Kentucky, what's up? Birmingham, what's up? Jackson, Mississippi, what's up?
I want that. We need 10,000.
Louisiana, Shreveport, what's up?
We need 10,000 people down here, Shawty. Let me tell you what happened. Now look, Shawty.
What happened?
See, if folks think us celebrity like me and you and like Brett and all us, they think that we don't go through regular problems like everybody else, Shawty, but we go through regular problems, Shawty.
Yeah.
So yesterday, Shawty, I stay with my grandma, my uncle. I got two uncles stay here with me. I got my uncle. My uncle was grown. You know, my Uncle T, he grown, and you know he 40 son, and then I got my baby uncle. You know, my baby uncle, he too. But look, they ain't need to hear.
Your baby uncle, hold on, back up one second. How old is your baby uncle?
My baby uncle too, son. He 2 years old. You know what I'm saying? And he bad here. I be trying to potty train, but you know you ain't
black if you ain't got an uncle that's younger than you. Go ahead.
But look, Shawty, but my uncle was grown. That's my grandmama little boy. My uncle was too. That's my granddaddy little boy. He was a side baby. But look.
Yeah.
So anyway, so my uncle was grown, Shawty. Do I need for to come protest for? Cause the police, Shawty, they tripping, Shawty.
What happened?
They done locked my uncle up. Cause he was over here last night. We was over here playing cards, doing what we do, woo. Next thing, and so he was getting the S curl put in his head. His baby mama putting the S curl in his head, Shawty, because he wanted to get her waving curls. She put the S curl in his head. While she was putting the S curl on, somebody had texted his phone. This other chick had texted his phone, I guess, and she was like, "What's good, boo?" And then, you know, she was behind him putting the S curl in his head. She was looking at his phone. And then she said, "Who that is texting you?" That thing I know, one thing leads to another. Shouted, they scrapping. Shouted, they done got to fight.
Yeah.
So somebody else called. They done got to fight and went out the front door. Somebody called the police. The police showed up. So they locked my uncle. They grabbed my uncle and locked him up. Well, they still had ass curl in there.
They didn't rinse it out. They ain't had no neutralizer. They ain't
ain't let him rinse it out.
They didn't let him rinse it out.
Oh,
and he was just screaming, talking about, "Let me rinse it out. Let me rinse it out."
Burn it up.
Yeah, that is a reason for everybody to drive down from Chicago and everybody to come over from Birmingham.
You can't lock nobody up with no damn S curl in their head, so they don't let them rinse it out.
So we're going to do a neutralizing protest.
Give me Ben.
All right, Black Tony. We on the way, Black Tony. on the way. We on the way. We on the way, Brad.
Right,
Eva. Yeah. We got to stand for something. You don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Neutralize, baby. Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
When we get over here, get somewhere and sit down. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't think about me because I'm grown. I'm going to be with the grown folks. You go be with the kids. Understand this. When I say it's time to go, it's time to go. Don't ask can you stay the night. You cannot. No. Don't ask can they come back over here and stay the night. They cannot. Don't get over here acting like you hungry, like you ain't ate all day. If you do, I'm going to knock fire out of your throat. Don't touch nothing. Don't break nothing. Don't ask for nothing to drink. Don't ask for nothing to eat. Lisa ain't already think her kids is better than everybody else, and they are not. If one of them touch you, you better knock their head off their shoulder. Don't come in there tattling to me about what you think, what you want, how you feel. When we get ready to go, I tell you how you feel. Is everybody on the same page? Don't play with me. Is y'all ready to go? Don't. Okay, let's go.
But this is the way. This is what we're gonna do Friday. We're gonna let people call in and tell me who that person remind you of. Give you a chance to shout out that person in your life. I need y'all to get ready to call me. I want y'all to call me at 5 minutes because I play this every morning at the same time. So y'all gonna call me 5 or 10 minutes prior to. And we're going to do a voicemail. Shout out to everybody. If that lady remind you of somebody in your life with your next door neighbor, I got a cousin that got 4 kids that kind of snapping at her kids like that. And stuff like that just take me completely out. I swear, this is my friend. They are not. If they want to spend the night, they cannot. She's very
with
clear.
the grown folks, you will be with the kids.
Listen, if boundaries was a definition, it would be her.
Yes.
Gary got the tea and the clue today. Coming up next, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Hey, 6 minutes after the hour, y'all. Gary has the tea and the clue of the day. What up, Gary?
Good morning, Ricky. Good morning to you. It's Tuesday, a beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. And here's what's happening in celebrity news, y'all. Everybody's talking about Russell Wilson and his beautiful wife, Miss Sierra Wilson. Honey. It's been reported, y'all, that Sierra was gushing and she put it all on Access Hollywood and letting the world know, y'all, that Russell was doing his baby daughter's hair. He was fixing little Sienna's hair, and people thought that was the nicest thing. But I was wondering, is that good for a man to do his daughter hair when the wife right there? I mean,
damn right.
They need to learn. Yeah.
We don't get those parts straight, but we do the best we can. You get that damn pink oil moisturizer and that brush. Only thing you need is pink oil moisturizer and get that brush, and you get that hand going. You brush that hair to the back, or you do that part down the middle, and you get them little afro puffs on the side. Okay, you already know.
It ain't complete without baby
3 daughters.
hair.
Of course, I know about puffs.
Without what, Brett?
It ain't complete without baby hair. You got to get you a little soft toothbrush
Man,
for
we
the
don't know how to do that.
baby hair.
We don't know how to do that.
You gotta use that brown gel.
No, it got to look
That
bright.
pre-con gel. You have to use some jam. You have to get some jam.
Oh, jam is like 1990s, Rick. You telling your age.
Yeah, you have to get that. Yeah, but you get that thing. But my daughter, I did the Essence and Aaron. I kept their hair in afro puffs, and they hated it.
Yeah, because that's all you got to do. These girls want it plastic. What about braids? I'm not a braid.
Don't nobody know how to do that. That's a man law violation. Man, they got no business learning how to braid.
Oh, you can do a ponytail, but you can't
I can do
braid.
plaits. I can do plaits. I know how to do them 3 plaits and put that damn barrette and the hair bow on the end. You better ask Aaron.
Oh my God.
One big dookie braid.
And then, but wait a minute, why do my pigtails when I plait, why do the plaits stick or why the plaits don't hang like when my mama do it?
Because you're doing it under, you got to do it over.
Oh.
The way you braid, it directions the braid and puts the weight down. Ask Brad. You know Brad is the braid.
It's all right. He ain't trying to learn, child. He got the braid.
Now they old now. Yeah, they lashes so long. I can plait their lashes. Them lashes they be on.
You like our lashes. Don't do that. Ain't no wrong with lashes.
Man, they went and got them damn lashes done, man. I said, did they flat them lashes or what? I said that my daughters, hey, Brett, my daughters, they got up and walked away from the table. I was riding them so hard because they went and got their lashes done, and it was too much. You know I'm a comedian. I went in the comedy moment. I was killing them. They got up. They quietly put their plate in the sink and went upstairs. They came back down and took them off.
I think seen eyelashes look good on look good. I love the ones that look like Snuffleupagus, baby. Those girls be blinking at you, baby.
Snuffleupagus, the little high elephant that be with Big Bird.
Oh, Big
Bird.
Same damn difference. Snuffleupagus. Y'all knew who we were talking about.
You know, Jack and Snuffleupagus is.
Whoever, Ricky knew who in the hell it was, so we knew the same people. But anyway, John.
People.
Whatever. The color of the day hell is beetroot. On the high end, you say beetroot. On the low, say purple. Y'all buzz. That's the color for the damn day.
Thank you, Uncle Auntie.
Snuffleupagus would be high as hell. Can't nobody see Snuffleupagus. Big Bird. Man, Snuffleupagus coming there walking slow. What he be saying? Hi, Big Bird.
Big Bird be on. Hey guys, say hi, Mr. Snuffleupagus. How you doing?
Hi, Big Bird.
Hello, everybody.
Boy. All right, y'all. I got some stuff, man, about George Floyd's funeral. Coming up next, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. We're going to be talking to Reverend Al about the state of Black America. Up next. All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Hey, it's 12 minutes after the hour, y'all. The segment's being brought to you by
Olay Body Wash. Try new Olay skincare-inspired body wash made with ingredients like vitamin C, collagen, and hyaluronic acid to take your skin from dry and dull to visibly healthy in just 14 days.
All right, man. Listen, man, ladies and gentlemen, we have the one and only. Y'all give it up and show y'all love for a man who really needs no introduction with the National Action Network. Reverend Al Sharpton. Y'all give it up for Reverend Al. Reverend Al, good morning.
Good morning, Ricky.
Yes, sir.
Man, Reverend Al, I know you're busy, and I just, again, I'm going to thank you every time. I know you're tired of me saying thank you for stopping what you're doing to come on the show with us. We really appreciate your support and everything that you do in the community.
Well, we love and support you, and you're not talking to the community if you're not on with Rickey Smiley, so let's be serious.
I know that's right, man. Well, first, everything that you've done, you know, and standing there with the Floyd family, first of all, how's the family holding up as they prepare for George's funeral in Houston today?
Well, they're strong. I mean, in all the years I've been out here, I have not met a stronger family. But, of course, they're sad. This is the last day they will be able to review his remains, and they will prepare to put him to rest for a senseless and vicious murder. It's bad enough to say goodbye to a loved one under normal and natural circumstances, but to look at him in that casket, and that's your brother, that's your nephew, your uncle, your father, and know he's there because a man put his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds that should have been there to protect him. It has to be triple burdensome and painful for them. And we're going to try to be their support system today. I'll do the eulogy today, but also give meaning that he didn't die in vain, that this is going to lead to real concrete change, and this family's committed to being in the long run to make sure not only these police are held accountable, but policing changes in this country.
Right. Reverend Al, can you share anything about the meeting with Joe Biden with the Floyd family on yesterday in Houston?
Yes, he met over an hour, and just about all the family was there. He shared his compassion and condolences, but he also talked about police legislation. The family wanted to know, was he supporting the legislation the Congressional Black Caucus was unveiling yesterday? Congressman Cedric Richmond, who had been a chair of the caucus and is still a member, was in the meeting as vice chair of the Biden campaign. And we talked about ending the no-knock law. We talked about having policemen's records transparent if they have accusations or allegations or charges before it should be made public. We talked about residency requirements. And Biden committed to a lot of substantive things that was already in his criminal justice plan that was part of what he called Lift Every Voice, his plan for Black America. So it was not only a meeting of condolences, which was appropriate on the day before the funeral, but it was on substantive change. And he said to them that he was not coming to the funeral because if he came, they would have to wand everybody or put him through metal detectors with the Secret Service, and he didn't want to disrupt the services.
Right.
Which they said, no, we understand that, which is also why President Obama and others did not opt to come, because you must understand when a president or even a former president comes, it disrupts everything, including, especially during the coronavirus time.
Right.
And it was a fruitful meeting, and I thought it was uplifting to the family.
All right, y'all, we got Reverend Al on 17 minutes after the hour, y'all. We're going to be talking about defunding the police. Coming up, more Reverend Al Sharpton. Up next, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. All right, y'all, 24 minutes after the hour, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. We got the one and only Reverend Al Sharpton on this morning. Reverend Al be in there in like a lightning rod. But I really appreciate you taking a stand. And I honestly don't see how you do it. I'm glad to have you on this morning. Brad, you were talking during the break.
Yeah, I was. How you doing, Reverend Al?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. So tomorrow is George Floyd's brother. His brother Phil is going to testify before Congress at a hearing on law enforcement reform. What do you expect to come from this hearing?
Well, Phalonis is testifying to really bring about legislation that will deal with the things we were talking about in terms of ending the confidentiality of a policeman's record if he's been having a pattern of abuse, residency requirements, ending the no-knock law. It was the no-knock law where police could just bust in that caused the killing in Louisville, Kentucky of young Sister Taylor, whose family, some of their family members are here at the site for the funeral today here in Houston. And from the Arbery families here and Trayvon Martin's family, all of the families here. But we want legislation. A lot of the demonstrations, the rallies and all that we've engaged in now and down through the years must lead demonstration and legislation, so we change the laws. And that's why he is going before this Congress tomorrow to be part of the record of why we need this legislation passed.
Hey, Reverend Al, now this is bothering me right here. In Florida, if a police officer get fired, another police department can hire him, and I think that should be a part of it, because if a police officer get fired for misconduct, why should he be able to go to another police department in another county and get hired? That don't make any sense.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's part of the legislation which the Congressional Black Caucus came out with. If a lawyer is disbarred, a lawyer can't practice anywhere else. If a policeman is fired, he shouldn't be able, or she shouldn't be able to practice anywhere else.
Right. Wow. So Reverend, did y'all have now today? Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have a question about the march you talked about last time you were on. You were saying that there will be a march in Washington coming up soon. Can you give us more details about that?
August 28th, which is the 57th anniversary of the famous march on Washington where Dr. King did I Have a Dream. His son, Martin Luther King III, and I are going to lead a march around police reform and accountability called Get Your Knee Off My Neck. It will be August 28th, a Friday, 12 noon. We'll be reaching the location within the next week. But we want people from around the country to keep marching, keep rallying, but have the culmination August 28th, where we connect, where the reason Dr. King fought against Jim Crow at that march, 57 years later, we have to fight against Jim Crow policing in the 21st century. And we want people of all races to be there with us.
Right. Now go ahead, King.
Yeah, let me jump in as comedian Special K, Reverend Al. I wanted to say today is election day in Georgia, Nevada, North Dakota, South Carolina, and West Virginia. Reverend Al, can you let the people know how important it is that these type of local elections to the community?
Very important, because see, if we're concerned about policing and criminal justice, they are usually decided and administered by those local elections, those people that are on your city council, the board of aldermen, your mayors. That's who appoints the police chiefs. That's who elects the police chiefs in some cities. So these elections today are very important. if you are marching and rallying, saying no justice, no peace, or Black Lives Matter, and don't have yourself voting, then you're just talking loud and saying nothing. You got to do both. And if you got to choose one, vote, because that's the people that's going to make the decision.
Right. Hey, Reverend Al, let everybody know that's listening to the show how they can follow you on Twitter and Instagram.
They can follow me at nationalactionnetwork.net or The Rev Al on Instagram and Twitter. So I'm all over. I hang out with Rickey Smiley, so I got my social media game down tight.
Hey, Reverend Al, I saw that green jacket. I saw that little green jacket you had on. You was looking sharp standing up there next to Joe Biden. I saw you on MSNBC. I said, look at Reverend Al.
Well, I got to keep up the family look. You know, I don't want to embarrass you there, Rick.
That's right. All right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up for the one and only Reverend Al Sharpton. Love you, Reverend Al.
Yes.
Love you.
Thank you.
More Rickey Smiley Morning Show coming up. Friends, are you back to work at that job? The one you realize that isn't for you? Well, that's if you lucky, right? Listen, make your move. You can start a new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months from the comfort of your own home. Even if you have zero computer experience, take control of your future now. So go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. All right, Rick's Smiley Morning Show. Hey, it is Tuesday time right now. It is 19 before the top of the hour, y'all. Jeff Johnson got 3 things you need to know. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning, Rick. How you feeling, brother?
Man, happy to have you this morning, man. It's a lot going on. I know you got some stuff.
Man, I got some stuff, and I'm going to tell you right now in advance that I got 2 people in the studio with me. One of them is Garvey Matthew Walter, and he's 1 year old, and the other is Baldwin John Raymond, and if you hear them in the background, this is my family.
Beautiful. Tell nephews I said what's up.
Hey, say what's up to Ricky. Say hey, Ricky.
What's up, Ricky?
Hey, good morning, little buddy. How you doing? You having a good day?
Hello, Ricky.
Good morning. Love y'all.
All right, y'all. Listen. And this was important to me, Rick, man, because with everything that's going on, I literally this morning was like, I cannot be in this space that we're in with everything going on without being reminded about what this thing is all about. And it's about them. And the energy that I get from them, brother, really just helps me do what I need to do. And I've been thinking, brother, that with all that's going on, there's a really critical moment happening, Rick, and I think a lot of us have to be careful that we are clear about, one, what we're hearing from people, that we're not extending to people a leeway that they don't deserve to receive as being an ally, and that we're making sure that we ask for the right things. And I had a couple of people ask me what I thought that was important to be thinking about in this moment, and I said, one, let's make sure we're setting the chessboard. Like, how many times, Rick, have you heard this is the one thing we should be doing, or we all got to do this, or everybody should be doing this? And I understand that there's some things that are important because we've got to get this this policy around police in place.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that everybody has to be doing that. There are people that have to be focusing on education because our kids still need it. There are people that need to be focusing on this economic piece. And it really is about setting the chessboard. Like, there are going to be some of us doing different things at a different time in different ways, but we're all still going to be fighting for the same thing.
Right.
Like, Rick, you'll never see the pawn trying to fight the rook or the bishop trying to fight the queen. They look different and they move different, but they all know that they're trying to capture the same king. And the king in this place is white supremacy. And so the second thing is we got to be doing system solutions at the same time we're doing action solutions. And those action solutions are really around this policy, whether it's at the local level or the federal level, especially around policing, pushing what I think we're going to see, pushing what the Congressional Black Caucus is working on by way of policy, but also being very clear that there's even more that needs to be done because so much of this is at the municipal level and the state level. But also, Rick, this is we've been talking about white supremacy. We've been talking about systemic racism. We've been talking about perpetual generational inequity. And that doesn't happen from one or two policies. That happens by changing the systematic approach to the things that we do, right? So some of us are going to be working on policy, and some of us are going to be working on how are we building infrastructure that benefits our community in ways that it has benefited white supremacy for generations. And I think that's one of my biggest challenges as I hear some of these well-meaning white brothers and sisters, as well as some of these companies, give apologies as if they're apologizing for stuff that has happened in the last 2 years versus the last 400 years. Right. And we need to be real clear about that, Rick, because black communities don't look the way they do because people have been doing stuff that's bad for the last 5 years. Right. They look the way they do because from the time that we got here, there literally was a system that ensured we would not have the same things. And if folks that are saying sorry aren't willing to correcting that, then they're not serious because they don't get it. And then lastly, Rick, we got to be making recommendations that almost don't even make sense, right? Like if the recommendations we're making for stuff in this moment make sense to us, that means it's too small. We need to be making recommendations that are so huge that when people hear them, they almost think they're not possible because we've never done them before. In the areas of infrastructure, of technical support, of leadership development. And we can get into some of those things, Rick, but if we're not talking like that, then we keep asking for stuff that's too small and keep committing to things that are too small, and those things won't make transformation. And so I'm so excited and want to celebrate not only the activists, but the business leaders and the other folks that are out there behind the scenes and on the streets trying to take advantage of this moment so that a year from now we don't see another death and focus around that one thing and not have perpetual change. And so those are three things I got for you, Rick. Y'all can hit me at Jeff's Nation on all social media. I'm so excited about this moment, Rick, because I think that there is an opportunity for change that we've never seen in our lifetime.
There it is. Hey, Jeff Johnson, let everybody know how you can be reached.
Y'all can hit me at daddydaycare.com.
Because they having a good time back there.
Y'all can hit me at Jeff's Nation. Y'all love y'all. Have a great day.
Go in there and fix them babies some Cocoa Pops, man. All right, y'all. Rick's Round the Morning Show. More coming up. Hey, Brian! Take me back, Brian.
This at my grandmama's house when the uncle bring his ugly girlfriend with the unmanicured toes and the short shirt with her stretch marks showing, and she hungry. She got one tooth missing and one gold tooth on the other side, and her weave look nappy, nasty, and matty. But she want to eat. She's standing all over the barbecue grill talking about, can I get some of that bologna?
Yeah, that's it.
Is that what that remind you of, Special K?
Boy, yeah, that's the cookout. That's that cookout song, man. When your drunk uncle show up, the one that try to holler at your girlfriend all the time, knowing damn well he too old, too drunk, and too ugly. She don't want no parts of him. He done pulled up in that 81 Cutlass with the half vinyl roof, with the velour seats, with the cigarette burns on both sides of him, smoking that nasty, cool, filthy king. Boy, let me tell you something, boy. Let me tell you, boy, that's Jerry Curl. That's Jerry Curl music right there.
Special K, how many necklaces he got on?
Boy, he got on 6 of them. He got the little horn. He got the cross. He got the little Jesus on the cross. He got the zodiac. He got his initial. He got all that. He got 6. He got nugget rings on both pinkies.
Nuggets.
Okay. So you mean to tell me his necklace so old Jesus and got up off of it?
Jesus done climbed down off of it. He say, I ain't die for this. I ain't die for this. You got a herringbone under all the little thin ones.
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord.
I can't breathe. Can't with Jesus.
Just tangled up.
Can't. You say he got some gray and black chest hairs with some baby powder up under it?
Boy, and he got that hoop earring in one ear. He got that dusty gold hoop earring in one ear.
What's that horn?
And everybody know not to leave him upstairs with the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so when he showed up at the picnic with the necklace on and Jesus was on the cross, tell us what was Jesus thinking?
Jesus was thinking, you know what? If I'd have known I was gonna die for y'all Negroes, I would have just went on and kept living. I wouldn't even gave up my life. I would have just kept living and let y'all deal with your own damn sin. Y'all wasn't even worth it. Y'all wasn't even worth it.
He said, I'm gone.
Yeah, he gone. He gone.
He on the floor.
I ain't had to die for this.
Shut up!
You would have called God and said, God, can we talk about this? I don't want to die for them. Just so 600 years later, they could be wearing me on a necklace.
We got Bitchy Brown coming up next, y'all. It's the Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Don't go nowhere.
I'm done. Y'all take me off the radio. Take me off the radio. Just take us off. I don't know why I get up every morning. If there's any other comedians that want to audition, but I'll leave. I don't have to stay. I'll just leave. Y'all stay. I can't. Because I'm being had a heart attack. He said, Jesus on the cross said, I did not die for this.
He said deuces. I'm out. He jumped off that cross.
Kay, I got one more question to ask you, Kay.
Yeah. Oh God, please.
So when the uncle showed up at the picnic with Jesus on the cross, when Jesus got off the cross, where did he go?
I'm not doing
He
this.
went to Crystal's. Sat there in the drive-thru. Just said, man, let me just give me something to eat. Eat me some of this Crystal.
Chili pop.
The chips. He might have went to Sonic though.
I ain't never cried.
To Sonic.
Man, boy, you tears skeeted out my eyes when you said Jesus said I did not die for this. You just made it seem like Jesus just so disgusted with black folks right now.
Only in that instance. Only in that instance.
We got a special guest on the phone because I'm not going to talk to special
Are you
K.
serious?
I'm not
You got
going
a
to
guest?
talk to, yeah, we got a guest on the phone because I don't want to talk to special K anymore. Turn his mic completely off. You can take the rest of the day off and go to Quick Trip and get you some snacks or something. Because we got the one and only Mr. Thomas on the phone, and Mr. Thomas' whole purpose in life is to keep people clean and sober. And Mr. Thomas used to fix cars. Mr. Thomas, where you retired from, Mr. Thomas? First of all, good morning.
Hey, good morning, nephew. How you doing?
Man, we doing good, Mr. Thomas. You know, we have to bring, because people are out here using drugs and doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And your job, and what's your motto, Mr. Thomas?
If I help anybody get off from drugs, I did my job. I did my job. But I'm going to tell you something, nephew. I'm going to tell you something. These young kids, they miss every time I turn around. Every time I look around, there's a new drug out there. I went to the farm store yesterday, and I overheard these young boys, these jitterbuggers out there talking about the new one. I said, "What in the world? I ain't never heard of that." Call it the Al Jarreau. I ain't never heard no drug called Al Jarreau, crack cocaine, Al Jarreau.
Why they call it Al Jarreau, Mr. Thomas?
Because every time they hit it, they be like, "We're on these drugs together." I said, "What in the world?"
Yeah, Mr. Thomas, they got to stop drugs. Now, what kind of drugs are they using now? What they getting high off now, Mr. Thomas?
Well, see, they lacing the marijuana and they putting that little the crack cocaine. They call it book, but they on the other other end of the spectrum they call it Al Jarreau.
Yeah, and they make it say what, Mr. Thomas?
They make them say we're on these drugs together, the kind of drugs that last forever.
So, Mr. Thomas, why did this song I'm about to play right now inspire you? This is the only song that you listen to, Mr. Thomas?
The only song. This song right here. Yes, sir.
Come on now. Hey.
After the drip.
Who you want to send this out to, Mr. Thomas?
I want to send it out to one and only Maestro Powell from Wabasso, Florida. Right. Listen to what did he do. It'll kill you there. Can't you for yourself?
Can't you see for yourself? Come on now.
Yes, sir. Come on, come on, Jay.
Get him off drugs, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You need to get
up for the cocaine. Get up off the crack.
Get up off the crack.
Get yourself together and get your mind back.
Get it.
And Mr. Thomas.
What's
that last note, Mr. Thomas?
You win.
And Mr. Thomas, let everybody know your motto, Mr. Thomas.
If I help anybody this morning, put the drugs down, I done did my job.
All right, Mr. Thomas, y'all give it up for Mr. Thomas. We love you, Mr. Thomas.
Love you.
The one and only Mr. Thomas. Rickey Smiley Morning Show, 14 minutes after the hour. Front page coming up next. All right, Rickey Smiley Morning Show, 23 minutes after the hour. Y'all got your front page right here. Eva, good morning.
Good morning, Ricky. I'm Eva Marcel here with your top news stories. Thousands of people turned out at the memorial service for George Floyd in Houston yesterday, along with many celebrities. The families of Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Ahmaud Arbery, and Trayvon Martin were also in attendance. His funeral will be streamed live today on all major TV networks at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 Central. He will be buried in Pearland, Texas, just outside of Houston, next to his beautiful mother. The family of George Floyd and attorney Ben Crump have sent an urgent request asking the United Nations to take a look into police brutality here in the U.S. Meanwhile, House Democrats put forth nationwide legislation aimed at cracking down on police brutality and recording misuse of force. Cities like Minneapolis, Los Angeles, and New York are already making changes to their police departments, but several big police unions across the country are speaking out against calls for reform, and we are not surprised. In other news, the World Health Organization now says that catching the coronavirus from someone who is asymptomatic is not likely. Economists have officially declared that the U.S. is in a recession, everyone, and the World Bank is estimating that as many as 100 million people may fall into poverty due to the coronavirus pandemic. In a weather update, Tropical Storm Cristobal is dumping more rain across the Midwest, but do not let that keep you guys from voting. Remember, today is Election Day here in Georgia, also in South Carolina and Nevada. Get out there, make your one vote count. All right, that was a quick look at your headline news. For more front page news, log on to the RickeySmileyMorningShow.com. Rock T, what's going down in sports, my brother?
Well, it is official. The NBA will be restarting at Disney World July 31st. It's going to be 22 teams. They will play an 8-game regular season, and then that followed by a playoff situation. So, NBA, get ready. They coming back. Little history moment real fast, man. Former Clemson players and now NFL stars DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson are petitioning the university to remove the name John C. Calhoun from the school's honors college. John C. Calhoun was a slave owner back in the day. He owned like 70 to 80 slaves. Clemson University is actually built on Calhoun's Fort Hill plantation. I didn't know that. In my opinion, don't be surprised if many African-American students transfer out of Clemson after this. Last but not least, players are starting to speak out about if the NFL is really sincere on the race issues they would like.
Mic check. Oh, Rock. What happened to his mic, Gary?
One of them football players say, you ain't about to say nothing. Not today, baby. We need our chick and our white women.
Say what, Gary?
They said they chasing their white women, so you ain't about to talk about me today, boo. Not in this hour.
They pulled the internet. They pulled it, baby.
They say, get him.
What did say, Gary? Get it. And they pulled the plug, baby. Oh, man. All right, y'all. Brett got the hot spot coming up next. Rickey Smiley Morning Show. All right. Rickey Smiley Morning Show is the bottom of the hour. Brett got your hot spot. What up, Brett?
What up, Ricky? Good morning, everybody. I'm your girl, Brett Tat, and this is the Hot Spot, where we bring you music, movies, and more. All right, y'all, let's get off into this thing. Just hilarious, y'all. She was dragged on social media after she went off on her fans about the cancel culture. She said, why do y'all just give up on y'all own so fast? She called out people with no platforms who are always trying to take platforms away for having different views. She said, if you cancel everybody, who we gonna have? She admitted she's made some mistakes and had some racially insensitive homophobic comments, but she said it was reactionary and not an attack on a whole group of people. Of course, people had things to say. One person tweeted, just hilarious, who is pushing 30, by the way, is mad because we are holding D-list celebrities accountable. Yes, we can cancel y'all when you're grown-ass adults who are choosing to spew ignorance on your platforms. You more mad at being canceled than racism, colorism, police brutality. Another person wrote, just hilarious, talking about why we canceling everybody. She said, why y'all using y'all platforms to say inappropriate and insensitive stuff? Y'all grown as hell. Y'all know right from wrong. They just went on and on and on. You just can't say nothing these days.
Nah.
And I'm sure Jess feel like from her mistakes, people have tried to cancel her, but if you funny, you funny. And I feel like she's going to make it because she's hilarious. They talk about everybody.
They're going to be watching that Just with the Mess every day like everybody do every day, and we wait on Just with the Mess. It's funny.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
And everybody know. The thing about it is people know your heart. That's the thing about it. That's the thing that killed me about people. They listen to you for years and years and years, and you say something, or they try to pick something, or your wording wasn't correct, and they act as if they don't know your heart and know where you stand. And depends on what side of the bed they wake up on, they mad at you that day.
Yeah.
Do 100 good things when you do one bad thing.
Or make one mistake.
Then all of a sudden you ain't nothing. Oh, yo, trust me.
All right, y'all. We're moving on. Our girl Oprah, she has a special coming on OWN. It's called OWN Spotlight. Where do we go from here? Which features her speaking directly to black leaders, activists, and artists about systematic racism and the current state of America. The conversations offer insight and some answers to what matters now, what happens next, what matters next, and where do we go from here. She'll have people like Stacey Abrams, Charles M. Blow, Keisha Lance Bottoms, and many more. And it airs tonight, Wednesday at 9, 8 Central. Nice. All right, y'all. To get caught up on those stories and more, you can go to RickeySmileyMorningShow.com. I'm your girl, Brett Tat. Coming up next, we got Master Chef Jannard Wells, and we got that praise mixed down with the White Stone. That's right, y'all. It's the Rickey Smiley Morning Show, and it's 27 minutes before the top of the hour, Ricky. Yeah.
Oh, snap. Real radio. On that radio. All right, y'all. Rickey Smiley Morning Show, man. Hey, listen, man, we are still quarantine cooking, man. Hey, we got a guest chef on this week, man. Chef Jannard. What up, Jannard? What up, man?
What up, Chef?
Boy, let me tell y'all something. If y'all ain't never had this man cooking, this man can straight up cook, man. Hey, what you cooking today, man?
Man, this week so far, I'm kicking it off with the garlic lemon butter crab claws. Very simple but easy to do, Ricky. I know, right? That's what I want.
Right.
I want the food.
So how do you do it? How do you do garlic lemon crab claws?
Crab claws, they are indigenous to like Florida and the coast and off the coast of Georgia. But all you do is just like you make crab legs or anything else, oil and water, 10 minutes, add your seasoning to it. Normally I like add Cajun spice to it. Throw your crab claws in, your corn in, 10 minutes is done. But the key is always in the sauce, Ricky.
Okay.
So for that sauce, we're using 1 part butter, 1 part olive oil. A lot of people are doing this, as we call it, getting it rolled away, and they still want to eat light and healthy.
Right.
So you ain't got to do all butter. You do equal parts butter with equal parts olive oil. Add in some fresh minced garlic, tomatoes, some Creole hot sauce. Let that simmer and toss it in. And, man, you got some good eating right there. And it's simple. Cooking, I always say when you go in the kitchen, you shouldn't have to spend a lot of time cooking.
Hey, man, that is. And Jannard, we can see the video.
Yep, you can see the video at Rickey Smiley's official Facebook page. So, guys, look, We're going to be throwing it down. I got some more bangers coming for you all week. If you're looking to eat good and feel good at the same time, I got you this week.
There it is, man. Hey, man, I love you, man. I'm so glad you came on this morning.
I know, man. We've been ripping it up for a minute, Ricky, for a minute now. So, look, let's just keep it going. I love the whole crew, and I hear him in the kitchen. I hear him back there making noise. Y'all all going to have to give me attention.
Let everybody know how we can follow you on Instagram.
Follow me on Instagram at Chef Jernard, and that's Chef Jernard, and that's JERNARD. You know, I got to tell them that J, because sometimes they get it confused with a G.
There it is.
All day.
There it is. Hey, y'all give it up for Chef Jernard, y'all.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.